guys, give me 1 second there. We're going to get this thing ready to go. Okay, we should be sharing the presentation screen right now. And Enid, Oriana, if you don't mind giving me a thumbs up, let me know that mics and everything look good. Would really appreciate that. And then we can get this moving. All right, come on, presentation. There we go. All right. All right, everybody, welcome this evening to our Monday night industry webinar. It's an industry webinar that we like to have because we like to share information to our investor community. We do this because we want to inform everybody of just what's out there, constantly being attached to people that practice real estate. You're always learning. I know in our audience, we have people that are actively taking our classes, and then we also have some past members. So some of this information might be new to you, and some of this information might be redundant, but just remember, you're constantly immersing yourself in real estate, so it always stays fresh in your mind. And the topic for today, guys, is before you buy, analyze, right? It's things that we need to look at prior to making offers, prior to spending our time. And the main reason for that, guys, is this is such a saturated industry right now. We have to take and do some spot checking before we get, you know, possibly emotionally attached to a project or attached to an opportunity. Our main topic is going to start off here in just about a minute or so, and I'm going to try to be done by 7:10, and I always love to open it up to chat and questions. So if you have Q&As, make sure you put those into the Q&A forum or the Q&A buttons that you guys will see in your Zoom dashboard in your window. The Q&A, we don't have any polls this evening, but if you have questions about SVI or any technical questions, we have our moderators there, which are Oriana Ovalles and Enid Lopez. And if you see that the information is not what you thought what it was, or Diego just basically bores you to death, feel free to leave the webinar and hopefully we get to see you another day. And remember, this event is for you, so we encourage questions, right? Always ask a lot of questions. A little bit about me, guys. For those of you that know me, I was born in Colombia at the age of 4, came to the United States. So I basically like to tell people I did everything backwards. I learned how to speak English before Spanish, learned how to dance country music before salsa and merengue. And then I've always enjoyed the real estate industry, which I did that from schooling all the way now in many facets of it. I live in Houston, primarily in the Cypress area of Houston, which is the northwest suburb area. My wife, Kate, and I also have my son, Aiden, which is about to start his first year at LSU, and we're super excited for him. And again, as always, I'm proud of you, son. I love you very much. And congratulations for your future success. And prior mortgage broker and asset manager. So what you get from us at SVI, guys, is always a statistical number-based analysis, because we always like to say the numbers don't lie, emotions do. So the people that work with us as our members of SVI pretty much eventually become asset management, risk management material, because that's what we look at in investing. I began investing in May of 2012. In 2012, I founded StratiVentures Inc. And in 2014, I created the platform, which is now today's StratiVentures, which is a full implementation company. And we now have members all around the country, now in 19 states and growing, and we look to work with every single person that's new. Get to know us, guys. And one of the main reasons why you want to get to know us is that we're a full service real estate investment company. Our motto is, it's a win-win or we don't do it. And we encompass analytics, such as acquisitions analytics. We go into real estate services, and we also have project management and contracting, and above all, funding. All the members that come to us are people that are part of the SVI member base. We've got private money lenders, guys. Those private money lenders want to lend to low-risk investors. So tonight you're going to be learning a little bit about how our members analyze transactions in the analyzation before you even invest time in it, guys. Here's our team. Enid Lopez, Oriana. Enid Lopez is our marketing director. Oriana, social media manager. Maria Rodriguez is our construction director. Also selections and design, guys, amazing. I mean, You got to give her a ring. She works very well with all selections, design, and project management. Stacy Ford, Real Estate Services. Pedro Alcedo, for you guys that are going into the co-housing world with us, Pedro Alcedo is going to be your first acquisitions contact. He's our national sales director. In regards to renovation properties that we do here in Houston, Eric Christie is our in-house home inspector. He works with a company called Boxer Property. That's his own company, and we're very fortunate to have him. Ron Dancy for architectural and design. Anything that has to do with plans, additions, site mitigation, even all the way up to the engineering side and civil engineering. We can handle that also through Ron's company. Stephanie Vivas through business development. You may have received calls from her in regards to setting up your one-on-ones, because in your one-on-ones is where you get to know us, we get to know you, and we also get to see, are we a fit for each other, right? And then Jesus Martinez works hand in hand with Maria in regards to contracting, numbers, materials, selection, labor cost, material cost, all of that, that's all encompassed there. If you want to know a little bit more, go ahead and scan that QR code right there, and then it'll basically throw you into our QR platform. Who you are, right? Everybody here at one level or many levels is playing the role of an investor. But do we really know exactly what that is, right? So at SVI, we say that an investor analyzes, acts, invests, and makes profit with one word in mind, and that word is risk. We always want to talk about this. We always make sure this is the forefront of every conversation because we want people to know where we're coming from. When we talk about analyzation, we're talking about market studies, comparable values, acting, repairs and build costs, and project management, and investing, hard money lending, private money lending in your exit strategies. And at the end of the day, as an investor, we're looking at profits more of a percentile base, a utilization base, and a velocity of money type of capture. And so that's the mindset that our investors bring in. If you're doing your own comps and you've never done that before, that's what we call high risk. If you've never changed anything more than the toilet seat and the vents, not the vents, the air filters in your house, why are we quoting repairs, right? So if your comps are high risk, your repairs are high risk, then think about what kind of investing you're going to get, right? You're going to get high risk investments. And so that's why at the end of the day, none of those deals turn into something that's called a profitable investment. We want to help you encompass all of this together in a team factor. So that's our definition, guys, who you are, right? You're an investor. What are we? Oh, sorry, guys. If you want to know a little bit more, we have free one-on-one training sessions in which you can talk to us in 1-hour sessions about these items. Feel free to go to our landing page at investorrealestatetraining.com. And there's a button there that Oriana placed that you can basically sign up for the one-on-one training sessions, and we get to know each other, right? This is where we're all going to find out is what road do you want to go on? And I mean, can we be a part of that, and vice versa? But take a look at that. It's really, you're going to get a lot of information during those sessions there, guys. What are we talking about today? Well, what makes an area good to invest in? Helpful links, right? We're going to talk about the initial review, comparable validations, repair validations, and most of all, an analyzer example. Having this is always great to have in front of you and know that these are steps that when you start to practice them, quickly you'll find out, should I or should I not? As we like to say at SVI in training, do you take your pajama pants off, right? Are you working from home, and should you put on some real street pants and let's go out and try to make this deal work? A lot of the opportunities that come to us from all walks of life, wholesalers, realtors, and direct sellers, may not meet a good deal, right? So we have to know these steps on what are we going to do first to make sure we're looking at this in the right manner. So let's go ahead and start off here. And a lot of you may have seen this already, but again, it's constantly immersing yourself in repeating this type of information to keep you in a lower risk. A good market area has 4 statistical factors. 1, the marital status greater than any of the others. Any of your single, divorced, widowed, or separated. It brings more income stability. National retailers and new development reinvestments start to happen. So that draws more desirability. So start looking at areas for rental or for flipping that are going to be in the higher marital status ratios, guys. Your occupancy comparison is going to be either rental, owner, or vacant. And what that's going to tell you guys here, like this diagram right here, it's saying that 75% of the area of the properties in this study is owner based. We are going to have comps. That tells you that's a good farming area because there's always market evidence, comparable evidence, and sales evidence for you to gauge your most important number, which is your after repaired value. In new construction, guys, that's called your after constructed value. That should always be your validated data to start your projects. The other thing to look at, guys, here is your school district rating. If you've got married, if you've got a lot of married people and you've got ownership factors, they're going to have kids. And kids from your elementary rating, middle school to high school, should be at an index marker of about 3 or higher. Some markets are going to be letter rated, some are stars, some are numbers. If they're letters, A, B, C, and D, obviously go B and up. If they're numbers, 1 through 10, 10 at the highest, about a 70 percentile or higher. And if they're stars, you know, obviously a 4-star to 5-star rating is going to get you a better school, which means more attractive or desirability to your property. And this is something now that's been around for just a couple of years. It's called your seller indicator score. That's going to indicate the days on market compared to the sales activity. And the higher the number tells you that your property is going to sell within a 6-month period. Our goal as investors is to be in and out of transactions as fast as possible so we can start working a velocity of money mentality. If you're in the lower desirable areas or the lower desirable seller indicator point numbers, you're going to hold longer, guys. Usually those areas, you're not going to find comps. So as a rule of thumb that we have at SVI is if there aren't any comps available within a good number of distance and barriers and markers, invest in an appraisal. Let the appraiser give you that third party unbiased opinion of where your starting point is, and then at least you invested $500 or $400 for an appraisal and made a sound decision to back off, or at least you have some good evidence to start your process, right? So we're looking at the marital greater than all the others. Occupancy comparison is going to tell you whether this is a rental conducive area or an owner area because there are comps. Remember your rental areas, guys, you're not going to find comps for sales, but you are going to find comps for rentals. So be sure you're using the right occupancy comparison for your right exit strategy. You have the school district rating, check your middle schools, your elementaries, and your high schools. I think of all three of those, the elementary school is probably one of the ones that should be at the higher point of that, because that's going to start the generational growth of that family moving from the elementary to the middle to the high school, which keeps the stability of that same type of market in that area. So you got to think about that. And then obviously your seller score, guys, days on market and sales activity, 6 months or less. Helpful links. We're going to, in the helpful links, these are links in which we're going to do a review in just a moment where we check first the quick value check of a property. We don't want to bombard our real estate agents or take the time to go in and pull quick comps yet. So you want to check your quick values using helpful links. We recommend your Redfin, Zillow's, Trulia, or any local realtor sites in order for you to kind of get a gauge of the person that's giving me this property. Is this number even anywhere close to what they say? Above all of these here, guys, I believe Redfin has probably the better data. Not saying the better data because they all pull from the same place. It's more of it's easier to read. It has more of the data compiled. I love the fact that it gives you your a similar square footage and similar type properties to the area, and it actually maps them out. I know other service providers do that, but pick whichever one you feel the most comfortable with. But I believe Redfin has a little bit more of a more confidence level for you. When you check your appraisal district information, you're basically looking for living square footage, lot size year built, and bed and baths. You're going there to 100% see apples to apples of the property. Your wholesalers don't measure properties, guys. Your wholesalers don't even count bedrooms in some cases. So we want to make sure we double check that, because all of your quick value checks engines, they're pulling from the appraisal district, guys. So you got to think we're going to go right to the horse's mouth. Another area that you need to check are your flood areas. Any type of flood areas, you need to address that. Your two main factors are your 100-year and your 500-year floodplains. And within those, you have your designations, AE, AH, AO, AR, AV. Those are more of the higher risk level. Consult with an insurance person to find out what those quotes are, right? Your lower risk are going to be your X, your B, and your C. You need to check with them because sometimes your X may fall into a floodplain that has recently been added to the city. In Houston, Texas, we all know about what? We know about Harvey, right? Remember that happened? Well, that now has a brand new flood map. And there are areas right now in Houston that were 500-year floodplains transferred over to the 100-year floodplain. And the flood insurance policies went from $400 a year to $2,000 a year, guys. Wholesalers aren't going to look at that. So we have to take those steps to double check those little bitty things. If a $2,000 a year flood policy is added to your numbers, how many homeowners are going to buy this property and then be okay with $2,000 a year? You're limiting your options of sale, right? So you're exposing your exposure is bad. Property tax information, we're going to look at exemptions, school, county, etc. We want to make sure that we know that we are taking on the full spectrum of the full tax burden. Just because the seller is over 65, agricultural exemption and homeowners exemption, homestead exemption, that doesn't apply to us. We always recommend calling your tax office and letting them know that you're buying this property. Give them the tax ID number or the address and say you want to know the full tax rate on this, whether it's the percentile or whether it's the actual dollar amount. Your county and district clerk's offices, you want to check these. Why do you want to check them? Because some of these properties may be in some type of civil, probate, foreclosure, or judgments that could hinder your title. And if that's the case, then you're going to sit and wait, or title isn't going to issue anything. And the last thing you want to do is start moving your resources to a property that is going to sit there waiting in title or for some things to cure legally before you act on it. Make sure you check on those things too, and kind of help your title company along in that process. A real big one, ladies and gentlemen, is your city engineering and roads. We were actually talking about that today in class. And it's important that you know what your city's doing. In a high development area, a high retail area, a high economically growth area, there are going to be projects happening, right? There are going to be expansions of utilities, more thoroughfares, better lighting, things like that. All of the infrastructure matters. If you don't know that the house you just bought, the city in the next 2 weeks is going to start a 6-month project of expansion down that street, you now bought into something that's bad. And those things can really, really affect the longevity of your project, right? One person today said, well, what about if it's a rental property? Good. You may finish the project, but who's going to want to rent in an area or up on a street where they can't get to it for the next 3 to 4 months when they finish? And how many people really do trust the actual scheduled completion times of a city, right? It's not going to happen. So check those things, the utilities, the road work, and planning. We use a loan amortization charts for any type of unpaid balance estimates and interest paid. And we have a company that we use called North American Title. You guys are more than welcome to use this link right here, natsuite.nat.com. And you can go there and set up a NatSuite account. It's completely free. And you're able to use a reverse amortization chart, which is going to tell you approximately when they bought it, what the rate was, what the monthly payment was, and then it's going to definitely tell you in the future, let's say this month, what their unpaid balance is. That's huge, guys. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. Because at least it lets you know, are you going to move into a short sale type of environment where you're making an offer less than what's owed? Or are you on point approximately to what the property is being sold for, right? So look at all of these things right here, guys. And we're going to go into a deal sheet here in just a little bit. I'm sorry, helpful links sheet. Comparable validations. When you're talking to your real estate agent and you want them to do validations of your comps after you checked the quick property value check, you want to make sure that you keep the area to a max of 1 mile radius. 1 mile radius max. Your appraiser is going to keep it at 1 mile. Anything greater than that, they're going to start to hit you on percentages of decrease of value. So try to keep it max at 1 mile. Tell your realtors to start at a 1/4 mile, then move to 1/2 mile, and then move to 1 mile. Because at that point, if you find your comp at 1/2 mile, stay to the 1/2 mile comp. You don't want your realtor or yourself, if you're pulling your own comps eventually, you don't want to cross any major streets or other divisional entities, such as railroads, bodies of water. Let's look at green belts, right, for utilities. Large intersections. There's always one different neighborhood on this side and another different neighborhood on this side. Your goal is to find out, why do people pay more here than here? One street may be the difference, guys, maybe the total difference. Keep your living square footage area plus or minus 10% of the subject property, your lot size plus or minus of the subject property, and keep your year built plus or minus of your subject property. These are all certain calculations that you can put in a spreadsheet, and instantly you can enter that data and then find out if you're within those limits, right? Keep yourself within limits, parameters. Our SVI members, they have an amazing deal sheet that gives them all this information. So make sure you build one for yourself if you don't have it, or come and chat with us. We'd love to see about working with you. Number of beds and baths, and should be similar to the subject property, but I would say that is the one that maybe has the least amount of important side to it. And no, I'm not saying don't consider it, but if you're looking at a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and you happen to look at a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, there's a similarity in comparable value there, because that 4-bedroom now is actually 3-bedroom, 2-bath, because that additional bedroom now can be turned into a home office, can be turned into a media room, can be turned into a baby room, depending obviously what area you're in, right? You don't want to go to the young professionals urban area and put a baby room, right? No, it's going to scare them. You want to go and call it a media room. You want to call it a home office. In the suburbs, call it a baby room, right? Call it a media room, call it a den. I mean, don't use den, things like that. Those things are already a little outdated, but make sure you add a little bit more value to your property by bringing in an amenity, especially right now where there are more people working from home. Active, pending, and sold data. A good comp environment should be about 3 months active, 3 active pendings, 3 active listings, 3 active pending, 3 active listings, 3 pending, and 3 sold. Makes a really good, healthy environment. And you want to keep that data to about 6 months or less if you can. If you're starting to go out to 1 year, try to make an adjustment on your after repaired value by about 5 to 10%. The worse or the further out time-wise and distant-wise, your appraiser is going to hit you with some types of factors of decreasing value. So 5 to 10% is a pretty favorable number if you exceed those areas. Repair validations, when you're working with an actual contractor, number 1, draw up a scope of work. You guys want to use a reliable repair estimator or similar tool. There are tools around the internet all over the place. Our members here use our scope of work and analyzer, which has a material and labor breakdown, line item breakdown, that gets validated with our contractors in order to make sure we have up-to-date numbers for our members. If one of our members finds a new contractor, we sit with that contractor and literally say, spill the beans. We want to know what your material and labor costs are. We want to know what your premiums are, because at the end of the day, if that investor, that member has better data to work with, more properties they're going to be able to look at, more opportunities that contractor has to work with. Take many detailed pictures, basically pictures that show areas where repairs are needed. Don't take a picture of just a wall, right? You want to take a picture of the whole room, maybe a panoramic, or take multiple pictures, but also identify what room that is, right? What wall that is, because at the end of the day, your contractor, to save you time and to make more offers, they can do desktop reviews, which are going to be on point, because it's going to let you know whether you're in this ballpark or not, right? As long as you're in the ballpark, you're in the room of negotiation. If you're out of the ballpark when it comes to repairs and budget numbers, there's no room for negotiation. Obtain line item repair bids. So your contractor needs to show a bid with line item repairs. If you are using a contractor that doesn't do that, I believe you need to start looking at another contractor, or give him a line item one to use, right? A lot of times they are so busy, or they don't have the operational side to this, where they've been wanting to do it, but they just don't have the time to do it. Why not be proactive and help them with that? All of this is reducing the risk and making sure you're analyzing this correctly before you buy a property. You want to cover material and labor cost values. Separate the cost values between material and labor, and that's very simple. Ask your contractor, what is the labor side? And then he'll tell you what the material allowance is. If you keep the material allowance without any what we call premium or bumps or markups, it's going to reduce your overall project cost, which allows you to make favorable higher offers, which means you get opportunities. I'm telling you this, ladies and gentlemen, because it's so saturated right now that we have to start using techniques to trim out our actual repairs. That's going to make or break be our success right now. Houses are selling above market, right? But we can't rely on that all the time. Repair costs are what's going to make or break our success, guys. So let's focus a little bit more of that. Address big ticket item inspections. The big ticket items such as your roof, foundation, electrical, plumbing, and HVAC, these are the ones that will come to life at mid-project, and if you did not address them, they will completely annihilate your project. Roof, foundation, electrical, plumbing, and HVAC have an abundant amount of companies that give you free estimates. Why not call them, right? It takes 2 minutes, get on the internet, make an appointment, or talk to that person, take pictures, and send it to them. They're out there looking for business, right? If they won't come out to you to earn business, imagine what happens if they do a bad job, right? They're not gonna be there to support anything bad that they do. So it's a good time to start identifying your big ticket item trades. Okay, if you guys have any questions, feel free to start putting them in there. I'll be happy to answer some of them if you've got it. Let's see, Reginald Anderson asked, is PropStream another source for checking values? Absolutely, Reginald. It's a good source to check values, but don't rely 100% on those values because they're being pulled. You want to validate for quick values, definitely. But for confirmed values, check with a local realtor. We have many of these tools, Reginald, and we still have to check with our actual realtors at a local base because they know the market. They know what's happening. Systems, it's more of a 30,000 degree view, guys, FYI. So stick to it local, stick to it local. Let's see here, what's next? Well, I want to thank some of our vendors, some of our partners before I move into the deal analyzer for you to see it. These are great companies, guys, that we use, that we've partnered up with. Feel free to use them. Let them know that you're an SVI member, if you are an SVI member, because they'll always call me and ask. but just know that our SVI members use them, and we're super happy to be able to work with good people here. If I had to spotlight somebody that is really amazing to work with, guys, you have to be able to work with a amazing home inspector. Find an amazing home inspector, guys. That guy will set the tone for everything. That's going to get you to your acquisition side. Once you get into your project side, look for your materials and your selections. Also work with great private lenders or capital lenders in order to send to operate with you, and property management, title companies. You have to build a great affiliation with them because they're going to minimize the risk of the whole transaction. So let me go ahead and go into the deal analyzer for you guys to see this. And Enid or Yana, if y'all could give me a quick thumbs up, let me know that this came through good. Let's see here. Let's see. Did it share? Yep, there we go. So this is the SVI deal sheet. We always basically tell people, when you look at this deal sheet, the first thing that most people say is, well, where's the exit strategy, right? Where's your cost of money? Where's your realtor fees? Where's all of that back end stuff? You don't need to know that right now. What you need to know is, do the numbers that you're using fit this bottom cost of value? Your cost of value is your most important figure of all, which in turn, any of your exit strategies or funding, it's going to make money. So you got to make sure. Let's see, Miss Christina Weaver asked, don't different markets have different costs of labor and materials? Do you do a line item for each market, city, and state? Absolutely. If you do decide to work, Christina, in many different areas, yes, you have to consult with that contractor of that area. So they're going to be able to give you those costs. Material, that is different. Material cost, there are many vendors all around the country that will supply materials all around the country at a faster pace. Look at Amazon, right? I'm bringing them up. Also, some lumber companies. We were looking to buy lumber for a project, and the suppliers here basically said that it was going to be about a 3-week delay to get the lumber. And then we found lumber out of Omaha, and we got it in a week. Look outside of that and those costs. And it was even cheaper to get it transported in than the actual upcharge of premiums that were charged here in Houston, because the people that did have the lumber, what do you think they were doing with the pricing? They were raising the pricing, right? The whole supply and demand thing. So looking here at our analyzer, let's say, for example, a wholesaler sends you a property that is 2,100 square feet. They tell you that the after repair value is $289,000. They also tell you that the rehab cost is $45,000, and the purchase of the property is $156,000. What every person sees is that by paying $156,000 with closing cost, you're in it for $161,000 acquisition. With the repairs of $45,000, you're in it for $206,000. And they're telling you that $289,000 is the after repaired value. Well, most people are going to go and say 206 divided by the 289 puts me at 71% cost of value, and they run out of the house, and all of a sudden you are on a trajectory of possible failure, guys. You're taking that emotional leap, and you didn't go over any of those items that we talked about earlier today, or earlier in this webinar. The first thing is check your values. What happens if you checked on Redfin and 275 was the actual market common value there? Look what it just did to your cost of value. You're up to 75% already. And you haven't even validated that with a realtor. Number two, your rehab cost is showing $21 here. And we get these cheat sheet numbers here from basing average rehabs around $28 to $32 a square foot, which puts us at around 67,200, let's say, because these are ballpark figures. We're a little light on the repair budget. So that means when we go to the property, we're going to be using our repair estimator, which is line item with material and labor. And at the end of the day, after we address every single thing that we see that we can actually put in there, we're going to be able to put that number. And let's say that number comes out to be $55,000. Ladies and gentlemen, that's already at 78%. Guess what? We still have to address our ad cost. Remember, all of this is from the beginning. Our ad costs are the appraisal and inspection costs that are basically with every transaction. So our ad cost, let's say $750 for both of those. And then we go ahead and get one whole year's worth of taxes in here because we don't know what that exit strategy is going to be. And look, we thought, ladies and gentlemen, that we were going to be at a 71% deal. Right now, we are 10% above on the cost of value from when we started. And we are 5% of what we at SVI consider to be safe investing. If you need to know a number, the number is 75% all in cost of value is a very safe investment right now. So at 80%, we would be paying $156. The initial offer is 70% at $126,290, or our final backup offer at $140. So I'm going to make an offer of $140. Keeping us at a cost of value 75% or below. We make the offer, we have evidence. If they say no, we move on to the next. You don't want to try to fit a square peg into a round hole, guys. Eventually, we don't know what the future cast of the market is. We don't know what the overages that may occur in repairs. And most of all, we don't know what type of offer discounts the realtors or whoever is going to approach us with buyers, is going to make us an offer at. I wanted to show you that just getting to even spending time on this, make sure you check in your deal analyzer with all of the items that we addressed today in our presentation. Your helpful links, check your helpful links. In the helpful links, remember, as we stated here, and obviously, and this is being recorded, guys, check your value, check your square footage, check your flood, check your property taxes, your county, and all of your city engineering and roads. You're going to know that you made a great offer. You're going to know you made an offer on a good opportunity. And last but not least, at least you made an offer, right? Most people don't make offers. Let's see here. We've got some questions here. Let's see, Reginald asked, are we sending the scope of work tab to contractors if he or she is not itemizing the cost and labor? If they're not itemizing the cost and labor, I wouldn't send them that tool, but I would definitely sit with them and have one-on-ones. For example, Maria, when she works with contractors, she basically sits them down and says, here is a benefit of us working together. It's to save you time so you don't have to run around the city. But in order for me to save you time, I'd like to sit with you and go over each line item. The cost that they're putting in there is going to be the labor cost. What do they charge for labor? Painting an interior of a property. We have $1 per square foot in there, and if they give you $1.25, change that to $1.25 a square foot. It's about getting as close as you can to a ballpark figure, $1 price per square foot. The reason for that, Reginald, is that every contractor is going to have a square footage average of what they can do a standard rehab at. that's what's going to make you very lethal to make a ton of offers and at least know you're hitting in the right areas. So that was a great question there. Does anybody have any other questions of anything that we went over? Okay. I want to show you the helpful links document. And the helpful links document is one that we create for every single one of our members, in which every state or city that they're in, we basically work with them to make sure we get all of their documents in order. The one that I like to, I'm going to show tonight is this NatSuite tool right here. So if you go to NatSuite at nat.com and you click on that link, or you open the link, you can set up a free account. And when you're looking at a property, remember it is public data. And because it's public data, we're going to be looking at a couple things. So here we go to the consumer calculator. We're going to go to our loan worksheet. And in our loan worksheet, we're going to have this little bit of information. So let's say, Reginald, you happen to be a homeowner that we're working with, and you said, make me an offer, right? Or your wholesaler sent you a property. The first thing we're going to do, obviously, like I said, is check our comps. But when you check your comps, your realtor can actually check the realist report or the actual property history report or the archives and find out that Reginald bought his property for $195,000 back on August 15th of the year 2006. And we don't know what his interest rate is, right? Well, actually the data that's on these public record is going to tell you whether it was a conventional loan or an FHA type loan. So just simply type in there, mortgage rate 08-2006. And you can actually go to histories or calculation historical mortgage rates. And you can check, and this is going to tell you that the mortgage history, let's see here, to August of 2000, oops, sorry guys, of 2006. So let's just go here, September of 2006. 6.6. I'm going to go here to my loan worksheet, put 6.6, and this isn't the all end all be all number, right guys? Remember, we're trying to get to a solid, more convincing ballpark figure. And I hit calculate, and I know that Reginald, his first payment or his mortgage payment is of $1,245 approximately. First payment was $915 of $1,245, which was principal and interest. That's his ending balance. And now I'm going to go into the future, and I'm going to look at August, 180 months from now, basically now, obviously, and he owes about $142,000. Is that a good number? Yeah, that's at least puts us in the ballpark to know that under an amortization table, if the guy owes, we make him an offer of 140 and he accepts it, at least we might be looking at payoffs. If the property is really that bad, in that bad condition, and we make him an offer of 130, 120, guys, what that's going to do is it's going to let us know that we're moving into more of a short sale type of offer, which in turn means a little bit more on the holding time. Let me see here on the chat. I've got a lot of questions. I think they're all coming through on the Q&A. And we've got a lot of them. If you don't mind putting them into the chat box, that would be great. I'm sorry, into the Q&A. Or let me see how many I can answer here, because I know Enid and Oriana have been moving them over. Adam Burke said, where's the link to the deal analyzer? Well, that's for members only, Adam. Just wanted to show you the tools that we use. Mark asked, do your offers generally include subject twos? Not necessarily. Each educational platform or each person that you're working with, or where you're getting your information from, Mark, I personally don't like to work with subject twos. You know, there's a different approach to every single one. So at SVI, subject twos are really not a platform that we focus on. But I would say check with whoever you are going to be working with, right? Let me go right here. I'm going to put the contact information there. Let's see. Diane asks, how many houses does StratiVentures have working? What is the average ROI on your properties? New construction wise, we've got 18 of them that are coming out on with ROIs on the co-housing side, averaging around 15 to 22%. Each deal is completely different. And what you're wanting to look at is, number one, area, what's your exit strategy? And at the end of the day, what your overall capital investment is. Let's see here. Let's see, the deal analyzer. Oh, okay, thank you. They answered that. How is the actual COVID? How is the actual COVID affecting market? It's not affecting it. It's actually been exploding. The lower rates have caused massive amounts of sales, and also even 10 times more on the refinancing of properties. People are still out there buying properties, multiple offers. People are still flying from city to city to engage in property values and purchases. Let's see here. Let's see here. What is your opinion on Independent Heights area as far as investing? Let's see. Independence Heights, ladies and gentlemen, is an area in the inner city, which is predominantly more of an urban type of structure. So those areas are good for redevelopment. Those areas are good for cultural diversity. So absolutely. Independence Heights is actually one of my favorite neighborhoods. That's in Houston, Texas, guys. Can you tell if they refinanced? Everyone is doing it. Yeah, that's right, Agnes. That's a very good question. You really can't tell if they refinanced, but definitely you know whether in the last 6 months or so the rates have been the same. At least you know that's a good 6-month window to do that. Let's see here. Let me see if I can get some more of the earlier ones. And remember, guys, always use the Q&A for questions, because I want to make sure I answer all the questions. Let's see. All right, let's see here. Let's see, here we go. Let's see here. Diane Hutchins, no, sweetheart, I can't see you. On a webinar, we can't see, but I'm glad to know that you're there. Okay, well, guys, if nobody else has any more questions, I'd love for you guys to get to know us a little bit better. That's my direct phone number here. The email in which you can send any type of comments and request information is info@strativentures.com, or you can call us here on our 800 phone number, or visit us at investorrealestatetraining.com. Definitely, we'd love to sit and work with every single one of you guys. Thanks for attending the webinar. You can like and subscribe to us on any of these platforms, and also scan the QR code there. And be very happy to work it with each individual person. I'll tell everybody this. We want to make sure that we cover everybody's questions, one-on-one questions. We want to let you know how we work. Eventually, if you decide to work with us, welcome to the family. If we're unable to work with you, we put these types of information sessions on in order to make sure that you are at least out there protecting yourself a little bit, because it is a crazy world out there, guys. So for everybody that has joined us all day, I mean, for the whole session, I really want to thank you for that. I want to thank Enid and Ariana for all the great help and work that they're doing. Please reach out to us, and we will see you next, not this Monday, but the Monday after that, because it's every other Monday. And you can see any of the up and coming webinars at investorrealestatetraining.com. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your family.